What's up, guys? It is 3 a.m. Thursday morning. This is April 20th, I believe. Yes, I do believe so. Yes, so happy 420 to everybody out there. Like I said, it's 3 a.m. I should be in bed getting sleep for work, but I have been up doing various things, and one thing that I have been doing is preparing for this video. And I am doing this video for all of my subscribers, everybody who follows me. Thanks to everybody who has subscribed to my channel, who watched my videos. I really appreciate it. All right. And shout out to everybody in the UK. It's probably 8 a.m. So maybe 9 a.m. in the UK as I do this video. All right. Now, I get a notification on my phone last night that the Boxing Voice uploads a video. And I watched the video. I believe the video is titled something like Derrick James responds to critics, and I forget what the rest is called. I forget the title. Okay, I will try to put a link to it in the comment section. But I have done some organization on my channel. I have videos organized in playlists. I have the Brook versus Spence playlist where I have organized all the videos I have done on Brook versus Spence. I have put this video in that playlist. So if you go to my channel and look at my playlist, Brook versus Spence, you will see the video. It's right there for you to see. All right. So in this video, Ness, who I like, who I have been talking to for a while. I don't talk to him every day, but I have done on-demand shows with the Boxing Voice. If I have to reach out to Ness to ask him something or give a comment, I can reach out to him. I consider us to be friends. I like Ness. Ness brings up the video I did on Derrick James, called Brook versus Spence, Derrick James Exposed, where I discussed Derrick James' career, what I found out about the guy, because, like I said, I didn't know anything about the guy, and I want to know about him, who he was, his background, and I found out who Derrick James was, and I put it out there for everybody to know and see and hear. So Ness mentions the video to James, and James acknowledges that he saw the video and he responds. Okay, and in this video, I am going to respond to him and to make a point. Okay, so let's get right to it. Ness says someone made a video trying to discredit you because of your professional career. What can you say in defense of guys like yourself that end up training guys to world titles and shouldn't be discredited because of what you did or didn't do as a fighter? This is Derrick James. I saw the video. I didn't see the whole thing because it wasn't worth my time. Somebody sent it to me, and it's like this. Then Ness interrupts and says, disclaimer, the guy only made the video because of things you said about Kell Brook. Right? Which is true. All right. Then Derrick James says, I know, without a doubt. Initially, I said, man, that's kind of odd. The guy feels strongly about it. My record was 21 wins, 7 losses, 1 draw, 1 no contest. That's the business. That's the game. But then I said, let me look up other trainers. Floyd Mayweather, 28 wins, 6 losses, 1 draw. Basically the same record. I looked at Ronnie Shields, 26 wins, 6 losses, 1 draw. Freddie Roach, 40 wins, 13 losses. Then I went to Brian McIntyre, who was the jewel of them all. His guy is winning. His guy is successful. 7 wins, 14 losses. It's not about your record. Your record is where you learn it. So the guy says to me, he says that the guy's career was a bust. I'm still in my career as a pro. He said he wants to know who I'm training. I'm training Jermell Charlo, world champion. Errol Spence, mandatory. Rob Brandt, mandatory. So if you want to know who I am and what I'm about, you'll see what I'm about. Helping, developing fighters. So my career was what it was, right? But everything about my career, I learned step, step, step. And it just so happened it led me, and then there's a pause. There is a bit of an edit. I don't know what he said, but it was an edit job, and then it goes to this, Derrick James. But at the same time, I'm still in my career. I'm winning. My record is 48 wins, 4 losses. 2 of those losses, I was helping my friends out, but I count those two. In 5 years, no trainer in the world has a record like that. All right, now I have side note. James says he isn't a full-time trainer. He has another job. That is another big check mark in the category of Kell Brook and Dominic Ingle, because I don't think these guys have any side projects going on. They're focused on winning this fight. All right, now um, there was a guy. Before I respond, there was a guy. I made a comment on that video where I said that I will respond to Derrick James by video. Okay. There was a guy named Mike James. Hell, it could be Derrick James himself or a relative of Derrick James. He had a Dallas Cowboys star as his icon. All right. He said in response to me, you sure do have a bone with D James. What's the beef? All right. Now let me respond to Mr. Mike James. There is no beef. All right. If there was a beef, I would be way harsher than I am with Derrick James. I have not been personal. I'm not making personal attacks about his life, his family, anything of that nature. That is what a beef would be, and this is not that. All right. Let me say, I have been more than fair to Derrick James. For the people who think I am harsh on Derrick James, I got something personal against the guy. Let me point these things out, and you can go back to the videos and watch them for yourself. I have been more than fair to this man. I said that he had talent and potential as a fighter. I said he would have got a belt of some sort in his career if it was managed better. I pointed out how he got screwed by a shitty ref against Otis Grant. I gave him credit for the good work he did against Otis Grant and Lipsy. Okay, I pointed out that Pedro Montiel was 8-3, not 2-3. Like BoxRec says. BoxRec says 2-3. I came across an article that said Pedro Montiel at the time was 8-3. Now, if I really had a big time beef with Derrick James, something personal, if I wanted to be hateful against the guy, I could have took that information and swept it under the rug. I didn't have to mention that in my video. I was more than fair to this guy. I said that this guy was probably 8-3 because I'm pretty sure the WBC did not want Pedro Montiel fighting him for a belt with him being 2-3. So yes, I was more than fair to the guy. I also said that in the fight against Oli Klemetsen, that was in Denmark. I don't know if Oli is from Denmark, but the fight was in Denmark. I said that could have been home cooking because there was a split decision loss. So I was more than fair to Derrick James. All right. If I wanted to be hateful and personal against the guy, I did not have to be fair against the guy with the guy. And things that I just said, I could have swept things under the rug. I could have shit on him against in the Otis Grant fight. He was the victim of a terrible screw job in that fight. I said that in the comment section, and I pretty much said that in the video. He lost. He was over my scorecard and lost like 5 points over bogus calls, bogus knockdowns, bogus low blows. I said that shit. Okay, so I have been very fair to Derrick James. All right. Now, let me respond to what was said in the video. All right. Now, like I said, I like this, and I'm glad that he mentioned my video. I'm a bit honored that he did because he certainly did not have to. Nobody had to talk about this. But I'm glad he got a response. I'm glad that he mentioned it. But my video was a bit misinterpreted, not only by Ness, not only by Derrick James, but by many people in the comment section on that video. And I am going to be very clear right now because I'm shocked that people did not get it, that people did not understand. But I'm going to spell it out and explain it right now. Okay. I challenge anyone to go to that video and find a part in that video where I said that Derrick James, because of his record as a fighter, where I said that Derrick James should not be a trainer, would not be a good trainer, would not be successful as a trainer, that no fighter should work with Derrick James because of his pro career, that he should not be a trainer, that he should quit the sport, because of his record as a fighter. I challenge anybody to look at that video that was almost 51 minutes long and put a timestamp. You tell me the point in that video where I said that Derrick James's record uh, means or meant that he is not or would not be a good trainer. That was not the point of that video. I explained the point 7 minutes into that video. I explained how and why I got to the point where I got to, how I discovered his box rec, why I looked it up, everything that I looked through in his box rec. I talked in detail about. But in the first 7 minutes of that video, I made the point that after him saying things that he was saying about Kell Brook, about Kell Brook's record, the comments he was making on Dante's Box Nation, the interview, I wanted to know what his background was. I wanted to know more about the guy. I found out about the guy. All right. Once I looked at his record and I saw that Derrick James himself had fought plenty of guys with losing records, I asked why and how could this guy question Kell Brook, talk about Kell Brook's opponents' records and the number of losses that they had when he himself, as a fighter, fought plenty of guys with losing records. The hypocrisy of that situation. That was the point of the video, guys. It was not about him being a trainer, his his credentials as a trainer because of his record as a fighter. I think I have pretty much come across and explained myself well that I have been following combat sports a long time. I know that there are trainers who have no fighting experience who are great trainers. I know that there are trainers who were not great fighters who turned out to be great trainers. Freddie Roach, Hall of Fame trainer. I know that. All right. So I was not making the point that because he was 21-7 that he is not a good trainer, would not be a good trainer. It was not about that. It was about this man on a worldwide stage in Sheffield, England, trying to point out the number of losses that Kell Brook's opponents had. He also did it on Dante's Boxing Nation. He's adding up all these losses of all of Kell Brook's opponents and trying to discredit Kell Brook, saying that Kell did not fight anyone, when Derrick James himself fought plenty of guys with losing records. Again, that was the point of the video, pointing out the hypocrisy and that this guy really has no point, no place to criticize Kell Brook's opponents, Kell Brook's record or resume, when he fought plenty of guys with losing records. When also he, his record, he went over 3 in title fights. And full disclosure, when I said that the guy's career was a bust, in all honesty, I thought about that very carefully before I wanted to make that statement in that video, because I know that is a hard and harsh statement. But do I regret it? Hell no, absolutely not. Because I mean, it's a fact. I said this guy had potential, and he did have potential, but he went over 3 in title fights. Now, and those were not major world title fights. Those were, sort of minor belts. All right. It's the equivalent of a first round draft pick, first round quarterback getting drafted and going over 3 in the playoffs. He could not win a playoff game. That's basically what it was. Someone with potential whose career was up and down, wins, suffer loss. He would leave the sport for 2 years at a time. The guy had 3 2-year breaks in his career. All right. That is 6 years in a 16-year career. So really his career was 10 years. He was inactive for six of those years. He was. All right. Uh, let me go through because I want to respond to everything that was said. All right. All right. He talks about the trainer's records. Let's see. That's right. He says, when I said his career was a bust, he said, I'm still in my career as a pro. Um, no, Derrick, you're not. You're not. You're retired. Okay. Your box rec says that your last fight was in 2008, if I believe. Yes, your career was from 92 to 2008. I remember that. So, no, you're not in your career as a fighter. You're in your career as a trainer. That is a difference. All right. You are a retired fighter. That is a fact. You're not in that career. All right. You're a trainer now. All right. So he wants to know who I'm training. All right. He mentions Charlo, Spence, and so on and so forth. Okay. Let's see. Uh, all right. Yes, he's in his career as a trainer. All right. And I am not giving him credit for Jamil Charlo. That is a Ronnie Shields product. That is. I he has to go on a long run with Jamil Charlo. Uh, I mean, Ronnie Shields had pretty much got him up to the point to where he challenged for the world title. I do believe Derrick James was in Charlo's corner when he fought for the world title, and Charlo was not looking that good in that fight either until he got the KO. He was not looking good in that fight. So, yeah, that is a Ronnie Shields product. We will see where Charlo goes from here on to the end. Forever long he works with Derrick James. We'll see what he does. All right. Let's see. Let me go down to my notes here. All right. Now let's talk about Derrick James and him and the losing records of his opponents. I did the math on these things. All right. Okay. He fought 13 guys with losing records out of 30 fights. Okay, and I cut him a break. I did not count the Pedro Montiel fight because, like I said, it was reported that Pedro Montiel was 8-3 going into that fight, so I did not count him. Cutting him a break again, being more than fair to Derrick James. All right, so for pretty much half of his career, he fought guys with losing records. Okay, but this guy was criticizing Kell Brook fighting guys with losing records in what was clearly the developmental stage of young Kell Brook's career from 18 to 22 years old. You know, a very young man. They did the right thing not throwing him in there with guys like Derrick James, who fought guys with 20 plus wins and one of the best middleweights of his time in Joe Lipsy. That was a terrible mistake. All right. So the guys that Derrick James fought with losing records, if you add up all of those guys' records, the 13 guys with losing records, 92 wins, 160 losses. All right. Kell Brook, the two guys he faced who fought guys with over 100 losses. In his debut, his like I said, his pro debut, he fought a guy with over 200 fights. The guy had 31 wins, 189 losses, over 200 fights. So that's 189 losses. And then in his fourth fight, he fought a guy who had 139 losses, who had over 150 fights. All right. So if you add up all of the losses of the guys with losing records at 160, that's right in the middle of those guys. All right. But you see, the difference is what Derrick James should have done if his career was managed in the proper way. He would have got these 13 guys with losing records, these developmental fights. They would have been at the beginning of his career instead of being spread out through his career. What Derrick James did was he had a few developmental fights, maybe a few little challenges with a 6-0 guy, but then he leaped into a fight with a guy who was 24-3, and what his 10th fight, I believe, and he knocked that guy out. Like I said, that was the best win of his career. The best win of his career was early in his career. That was his best success. I think he would have preferred, in hindsight, to have the better success later on, winning a world title. So he moved fast. He fought Joe Lipsy, like I said, one of the best middleweights of his time. A guy who had so much punching power that the first 2 years of his career he stopped everybody, and his nickname was the Sledgehammer. All right. They put him in there with that guy in Las Vegas on the undercard of Michael Moore and George Foreman. And what happened? Uh, he gassed. The fight is on YouTube. Derrick James, he looked good in that fight. Derrick James, he knocked Joe Lipsy down once or twice. I believe twice. In the beginning of the fights, man, Derrick James looked sharp. In the Otis Grant fight, he was looking damn good. Like I said, the guy had talent, but he was not developed properly, and he was leaping into the deep end of the pool with guys who had experience and wins, and he drowned. He did not have the stamina to last with these guys, man. And he gassed in this fight, and he ended up getting knocked down, and he pretty much quit. That's what happened in the fight with Joe Lipsy. All right. So if he would have been developed in a proper way in the beginning of his career, had 4 round fights, couple of 4 round fights, then eventually in the 6 round fights, have a couple of those, then a couple of 8 round fights, a couple of those, then a couple of 10 round fights. This guy gets to a good, let's say good 20 to 25 and 0, then he could have challenged, for a world title, at 25 and 0, for example, and he would have had experience going 10 rounds. He could have developed a gas tank, and he would have gathered confidence, experience, all these things that Derrick James would have developed. That's what the Ingles did with Kell Brook. That's why I defended what the Ingles did with Kell Brook. That's why I defended Kell Brook's record and resume, as opposed to Derrick James, who moved too fast, and his career did not turn out the way it could have been. Because I said the guy had talent, but what happened? The guy he would have setbacks. He would take a 2 year break. Setback, 2 year break. Then I think he had a draw. Then he came back again for what looked like maybe with like one attempt at a title run. Fighting boxing babies and guys with losing records. Developmental fights throughout his career. And if he would have done that at the beginning of his career would have been better, guys. That's the way I see it. All right. Now against the guys who were 92 and 160, he was 12 and 0 with one no contest. So that means that 9 of his wins were against guys with even records or better. All right, 9 wins against guys who had either even records or who had more wins than losses, while the most wins for his career came against guys with losing records. All right, that's why I was pointing out the hypocrisy in this guy adding up losses of Kell Brook's opponents. How can this guy do this when he fought almost half of the guys in his career had more losses than wins. You know, that was the point of the video. Again, all right. All right. Now let's talk about Kell. What Kell did in contrast. Okay. Kell's first 8 round fight was until 2.5 years into his career. All right. Until 2.5 years to his career, he did not fight an 8 round fight. All right. In his 17th fight, he took on a 12 round fight for the first time. All but 3 fights since then have been 12 rounders since his 17th fight. So you see I think fight number 1 up until let's see his last what I am now calling on my channel, I'm calling either development or developmental fights, which are fights against guys with losing records, fights that are meant to get experience and to learn the game in. All right. His last developmental fight was in his 16th fight. He fought a guy who was 8-12. After that, he has fought every fight since then. It's been guys with winning records. So from his 17th fight on, nothing but guys with winning records. And like I said, Derrick James, he fought 13 guys with losing records or developmental guys. So if he had taken the same approach, taking those fights, like I said, at the beginning of his career, and then progressed, then gathered the gas tank, fought longer fights, it would have been better for Derrick James. Okay. All right. And the 3 that weren't 12-round fights since He has been fighting 12-round fights were 10-round fights. All right. Let's see. He has fought guys with winning records since he was 22 years old. All right. Since 22, he has been fighting guys with winning records. So we cannot, kill Brook for fighting guys who had losing records, developing, learning the game from 18 to 22. Why throw this guy in like Derrick James was thrown in with guys with 20 plus wins? One of the best middleweights of his time, in Joe Lipsy, a guy whose only loss was to Bernard Hopkins, who had tons of knockouts in his career. Knocked out Derrick James. Well, he stopped him at TKO. The ref jumped in and stopped Derrick James while he was leaning up against the ropes and not throwing back. But yeah, in that 18 to 22-year-old period, that's when Errol Spence ass was, he was an amateur. He was on his Olympic run. And then after the Olympics at 22, he turned pro. So you see, that period of time, he was, fighting amateur, going through the Olympic process. Kell Brook was fighting experienced guys, getting experience as a pro, learning to be a pro. That's the difference between those two guys. You know, so of course Errol Spence could fight guys. He did not have to take as many developmental fights. He did take some developmental fights. Like I said, his career started out 3-3, 5-2, 0-1, 4-2. Those kind of guys. Then he started fighting more guys with winning records. All right. So I think that is pretty much it, guys. This video is a lot longer than I thought it would be. But again, let me say for the record, okay, and I'm not mad at Ness. Like I said, Ness is my dude. I'm glad that he mentioned this to Derrick James. My point was just misunderstood by Ness, and it has been misunderstood by many people in the comment section of that video, and by Derrick James himself. Again, the point of that video was not to belittle Derrick James as a trainer, to say Derrick James is trash as a trainer. Hell, I wish Derrick James the best. I do. I wish this guy the best, except for May 27, because May 27, he is fighting one of my dudes. He is fighting my guy, all right? A guy that I am a big fan of. So, Derrick James, I wish you success, in your career as a trainer. In life, I wish you success. But I called it like I saw it. How can you say, how can you criticize Kell Brook's record as a pro? And the guys that he fought, the guys who had lots of losses, when you yourself fought plenty of guys with losing records. Almost half the guys in your career had losing records. That was the point of the video. Not about you being a trainer, but about you and the hypocrisy of adding up losses on Kell Brook's resume of guys he fought, when you yourself fought plenty of guys with losing records. All right. Now I would like Derrick James to respond to that. Why did you fight so many guys with losing records? Why did you fight boxing babies late in your career? Are you gonna call them stay busy fights? Something like that. They are the developmental, stay busy type fights. We can label them that, but they were not world beaters. All right. So you can answer why you fought such guys throughout your career. It was for the same reason. Stay busy, get wins, get confidence, stay active. And that's the same thing that happened with Kell Brook. And this guy should know this. He has been around the pro boxing game for a long time. So Derrick James should know this. And hell, while you're at it, if you see this video, I'm sure you will. Somebody will pass this to you. Also answer this. You say, since nobody's asking you, I will ask, because I don't give a shit, okay? And I want to know the answer, okay? I'm not afraid of, getting out of favor with these guys, not getting interviews. That's not my point, all right? But again, you said, you're on the record saying that Errol Spence does not take vitamins or supplements, all right? Why did Errol Spence not enroll in the Body Clean Boxing program when WBC gave him a number 3 ranking? I want to know the answer to that question. Why did he not take the test? Why did he not sign up for the program? Yes, he is testing for this fight, but he is not enrolled in the Body Clean Boxing program, which would mean that he is subjected to year-round testing. And the IBF cannot be used as an excuse, because Kell Brook, as IBF champion, is enrolled in the Body Clean Boxing program. he is subjected to year-round testing. So there is no excuse for Errol Spence. I want to know why. Why this guy did not enroll in the clean boxing program then? Why is he still not enrolled? Why did he give his ranking with his number 3 ranking with WBC, and not take that test? All right. Now nobody's asking that question. I just asked it. I'm pretty sure Derrick James will see this video, and if he gets in front of a camera and talks to a reporter, I want him to go on the record and say why. Errol Spence, he can answer the same question also. Yes, he is testing for this fight, but if this guy is not taking anything, if he's not doing anything, why would he not take that test, man? Nobody has asked that question, and you can't say because he wasn't ranked. He was ranked. That's why they asked him and mandated that he take the test at the time, and he refused, and that's why they took the number 3 ranking from him. So I thank you for answering Ness's question. I thank Ness for asking you the question. And again, it's nothing personal. I don't want anybody to think I got any beef with this guy. I wish this guy success in his career. It's just that on May 27th, he is going against my guy. He was kind of running my guy down, talking about his record and resume when Kell Brook was an undefeated challenger coming to America at 32-0, challenged for the world title and won the world title. This guy should be respected, and he should be praised for what he did in his career. Undefeated guy came to another country, won a world title, and then had the balls to go up 2 weight classes to fight an undefeated champion who was on a knockout streak, and challenged that guy for all his middleweight crowns, except for the one sanctioned body that did not sanction the fight. But yeah, Kell Brook should be commended for that. I pat him on the back. That's one of the reasons I am a big fan of this guy. We need more guys like this in the game. Guys who will step up and take on challenges instead of trying to protect their old and protect brand and interest and all that kind of bullshit. Okay? That's why, and this is one reason why I am a big fan of this guy. He has a loss on his record now. Yes, he does. But in my opinion, he was winning that fight before the stoppage. And he will always have my respect for stepping up and taking on a great challenge when he did not have to. When Eddie Hearn came to him with the fight, he could have easily said, Eddie, I'm an undefeated welterweight champion. No, thank you. I will fight Jesse Vargas and easily take that WBO belt from him. He could have done that. But no, he said, yeah, I want the real fight. I want the real challenge. Give me Golovkin. Was it a great payday? A better payday than Vargas? Hell yes, it was. But the challenge was greater also. And I commend him for stepping up. Some people are stupid enough to say that he ducked Vargas or some shit like that for Golovkin, which is bullshit. It's the other way around. You would duck a Golovkin for a Vargas because Vargas is a lesser challenge. Kell Brook would have beaten the shit out of Jesse Vargas. If him and Jesse Vargas are ever to fight, I would put big money on Kell Brook to beat Jesse Vargas. He would probably stop Jesse Vargas, okay? Yes, that is one reason I'm a big fan of Kell Brook. The man stepped up, and ever since then, look at all the great fights we're getting in boxing, guys. People patted Kell Brook on the back, saying that he did well in that fight. His profile got bigger. People said he exposed Golovkin, and ever since then, guys have not been afraid to take on challenges because they realized that they would get praised instead of being criticized for cherry picking. These guys better step up and take on big, great fights because the game is changing. They better, or they're going to be left behind, forgotten, and nobody's going to give them credit. That's the way I see it. So, yes, I thank Kell Brook. I'm a fan of Kell Brook. I will be rooting him on May 27th, and I will be supporting him throughout his career. And even after, I will support Kell and whatever he does because this guy is a real fighter. He did not quit against Triple G. The towel was thrown in. Kell Brook wanted to continue that fight. As he illustrated when the towel was thrown, when he was interviewed by HBO, he said, knock me out. Do not throw the towel. Knock me out. In a fight of that magnitude, he wanted to keep going with triple vision, leaning against the ropes, looking at Triple G with his arms out, saying, "I'm still here. Is that all you got?" You know. So yes, I am a fan of Kell Brook. I'm rooting for him against Errol Spence in this fight. And once again, I thank Derrick James for responding. I thank Ness for asking the question. And in the future, if anyone responds to my videos, via video, I will respond in the same way. And I will try to do it in a respectful manner as long as they are respectful with me. And I believe that's it, guys. Thanks for the support. And I will be checking in with you guys soon, man. Y'all take care.